Step-siblings Sora and Shiro are known as Blank, an unbeatable group of online gamers. In reality, both are agoraphobic hikikomori. After 5 consecutive wins, they are challenged to a game of chess by an anonymous player. When Sora and Shiro emerge victorious, they are offered to be sent to a world governed by games. Once they accept, they are suddenly summoned to an alternate world called Disboard by the now recognized anonymous player, the game's god named Tet, who departs after explaining that Disboard is governed by a set of rules called the 10 Commandments. After humiliating 3 thugs, Sora and Shiro travel to a hotel in Elkia, a nation inhabited by humans, where Stephanie Dola and Clammy Zell are seen playing poker to determine the next ruler. Before we continue with the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to help us keep bringing more summaries like this. Now, let's get to the video. Sora is challenged to a poker game against a woman named Lady Attitude for her bag of gold coins. Sora wins with a royal flush after Lady plays a full house. Shortly after, Sora secretly informs Stephanie that Clammy is cheating. While planning to stay at the hotel for 4 nights, Sora and Shiro eagerly await their new life in Disboard. After losing to Clammy in their poker game, Stephanie confronts Sora for not revealing how Clammy cheated. Sora convinces Stephanie to participate in a game of rock, paper, scissors. Stephanie overthinks when Sora claims he will only play paper, leading her to play scissors, but he easily wins by playing rock. Sora uses the 10 Commandments to make Stephanie fall in love with him, though Shiro makes the situation awkward. Sora and Shiro then move to the kingdom of Elkia with Stephanie, who later explains that Humanity represents the human race within Disboard. Humanity is the 16th conscious race ranked among the Exceed because they have no affinity for magic. Stephanie wishes to prove that her late grandfather Makoto Dola, the former king of Elkia, was not a foolish king. Sora uses the 10 Commandments to convince Clammy to wear Stephanie's heritage dress in preparation for her coronation. Afterwards, Sora and Shiro set out to help Stephanie prove that Makoto was not a foolish king. As Sora, Shiro, and Stephanie disrupt Clammy's coronation, they reveal that Clammy won the games using magic from Fiel Nervalin, who is one of the elves, the 7th pointy-eared race living in the vast land of Elvengard. Although Clammy manages to salvage the situation, she is forced to challenge Sora and Shiro to a game. Clammy later informs Sora, Shiro, and Stephanie that she plans to sever ties with the elves after winning the game. As Sora and Shiro refuse to back down, Clammy challenges them to a live chess game using animated chess pieces. After Sora deduces that charisma and leadership skills affect the game, Shiro proves unable to sacrifice her chess pieces, losing her knight in the process. Sora takes control and mobilizes his remaining chess pieces, giving him the upper hand against Clammy. However, Clammy is forced to cheat by corrupting Sora's chess pieces. In retaliation, Sora persuades Clammy's queen to join his side by declaring that her king is corrupt. While Shiro reassures Sora that everything will be fine, Sora devises a plan to turn the game around. Clammy is caught off guard as her chess pieces gradually desert her for her ex-queen, and her king is eventually assassinated due to his tyrannical rule. With Sora and Shiro now victorious, Sora denounces Clammy for her plan to assimilate Humanity with the elves, telling her not to underestimate Humanity. 3 days later, Sora and Shiro are crowned the king and queen representatives of Humanity, and they begin to address political and economic issues in Elkia. At their coronation, Sora and Shiro deliver a compelling speech before receiving the chess piece from the king's race of Humanity, a chess piece representing the rights and free will of the nation. At night, Sora and Shiro discover that the Flugel are the 6th angelic race ranked among the Exceed living in the floating nation of Avanheim. They are visited by Tet, who explains that whoever gathers all 16 chess pieces of each species will have the right to challenge him for his title of god. In response, Sora and Shiro accept his challenge, declaring that they will be the winners. When Stephanie grows tired of Sora and Shiro delegating their responsibilities to her, Stephanie challenges Sora to a game with the bet that he will become a decent person if she wins. Stephanie challenges Sora to a game of blackjack. Sora wins by counting cards, even as Stephanie tried to implement fall shuffling. After humiliating 3 aristocrats, Sora uses his bet to dress Stephanie in a dog costume. However, Stephanie closely resembles one of the Werbeasts, the 14th race with animal-like ears among the Exceed living on the islands of the Eastern Union, who possess superior senses and physical abilities, as well as a 6th sense. Stephanie challenges Sora and Shiro to several prediction games, only to lose her dignity each time. While Sora and Shiro exploit Stephanie for lacking knowledge and probability, they tell her that there is not enough information information about the war beasts. Realizing that Sora and Shiro were not joking about their responsibilities, Stephanie redirects them to the main library in Elkia, owned by Jabril, the youngest and strongest Flugel. Challenging Jabril to a game for possession of the main library, Sora and Shiro wager their tablet containing thousands of valuable ebooks. After Sora strokes Jabril's sensitive wings, Jabril offers her freedom in exchange. They play a game of materialization word chain, where their spoken words will materialize or disappear from the environment, starting with an atomic bomb. During the materialization word chain game, Sora tells Jabril that humanity is not as weak as she thinks. Sora and Shiro cleverly and gradually dismantle the planet by removing its outer core, lithosphere, and oxygen gas. This leads them to induce a hypernova nullifying Coulomb's law. Jabril loses the materialization word chain game after realizing that Sora and Shiro orchestrated the game from the beginning. An impressed Jabril solemnly SW. Jabril notices that Stephanie was only ordered to fall in love with Sora, not to remain in love with him. Meanwhile, Clammy and Fiel discuss that the quality of life in Elkia has improved. Jabril tells Sora, Shiro, and Stephanie about the history of the war beasts, revealing that the war beasts have been undefeated for half a century, always erasing the memories of opponents who lose games to them. Discovering that Makoto challenged the war beasts 8 times and lost a significant amount of territory in the last decade, Sora denounces Makoto's motives as king and makes Stephanie cry. After further investigation at night, Sora sees Shiro as a genuinely pure human being while struggling to believe in Makoto's motives. Previously entrusted by Makoto, Stephanie gives Sora a special key, which opens a hidden library in Makoto's royal quarters. Sora, Shiro, Stephanie, and Jabril discover that Makoto did not have his memories erased, but rather recorded information about the war beasts to be passed on to the next ruler. Sora, Shiro, Stephanie, and Jabril visit the Eastern Union Embassy, where they meet Ino Hatsuse, the assistant ambassador of the war beasts. Inside the embassy, they meet Azuna Hatsuse, Ino's granddaughter and ambassador of the war beasts. Sora and Shiro challenge Ino and Azuna to a game between the nations of Elkia and the Eastern Union for all the land on the continent. Based on the 4 games the elves lost to the war beasts, it is deduced that the war beasts created a video game that would allow them to cheat, meaning the war beasts cannot read minds. Threatening to leak this information to the elves if their challenge is not accepted, Sora and Shiro wager the royal race piece of humanity in Elkia's territory. A week later, Sora sets out to accept the challenge alone. 2 days later, Shiro realizes that Stephanie has no memory of Sora. Stephanie believes that Shiro's memories may have been manipulated, so Jabril challenges Shiro to a game of chess with the goal of removing Sora's supposed false memories. Deciding to keep those memories, Shiro wins the chess game and asserts that Sora is real. Shiro realizes that Stephanie and Jabril cannot recall what happened the day after Sora disappeared. After further investigation, Shiro remembers that Sora challenged Clammy to a game of Othello, where the discs collectively compose their existence. The bet is to manipulate the memories of their respective partners, Shiro and Fiel. After Jabril detects magic in the royal chambers, Stephanie stumbles upon 2 sets of 3 discs on the floor. Using Sora's 3 discs, Shiro places them on an unchessboarded invisible board, thus winning the game of Othello and restoring Sora's existence. With this victory, Sora shares his memories with Clammy to form an alliance and gains the right to alter Fiel's memories as he pleases. Clammy and Fiel formally introduce themselves to Sora, Shiro, Stephanie, and Jabril. However, Jabril and Fiel disagree due to the fact that the former inadvertently massacred many elves in Elvengard during the Great War 6,000 years ago. It is revealed that Clammy's ancestors were slaves to Fiel's ancestors for generations. Although Clammy and Fiel treat each other as equals, Sora tries to convince Clammy that the public bath is a great way to bond as allies. In the hidden library at night, Clammy tells Sora that they cannot rely on chance and must avoid any mistakes. The next day, Sora, Shiro, Stephanie, and Jabril visit the embassy once again. Before the game begins in the arena, Ino informs a watching public audience that the wager will be humanity's royal race peace and Elkia's territory versus all the land of the Eastern Union. Clammy and Fiel monitor any signs of cheating. Sora, Shiro, Stephanie, Jabril, and their opponent Azuna are transported to a virtual reality field resembling Tokyo. Sora and Shiro enter a state of apathy due to their agoraphobia. Sora and Shiro snap out of their apathetic state after Ino reminds them that they are in a virtual reality field. Ino explains that the challenge will be a cops and robbers game, where they use love guns that shoot heart-shaped bullets at non-player characters in the form of animal girls. Stephanie remains puzzled by the rules of the game. Sora, Shiro, and Jabril battle against Azuna, who manages to dodge even the most relentless attacks. When Sora, Shiro, and Jabril hide under a hallway, it is shown that Ino secretly transmitted their location to Azuna. Sora, Shiro, Stephanie, and Jabril then regroup in a park, while Shiro makes proper and private adjustments to the action plan. Executing the unspoken action plan, it is later revealed that Azuna was tricked into believing that Shiro switched sides, but Shiro threw the button from her shirt in the path of the bullet instead. Azuna soon finds herself in a tight spot when she is cornered by Sora and Shiro. This forces Azuna to use an ability called Blood Break, which enhances her physical capabilities. After easily defeating Sora and Shiro, Azuna lets her guard down and is consequently defeated by Stephanie, who is riding a non-player character. Sora linked Stephanie to the 10 Commandments to hide his intent, while Shiro calculated the movements of the non-player character to hide Stephanie's location. As Ino announces that Elkia has won against the Eastern Union, Azuna laments the fate of the war beasts, although Sora and Shiro assure Azuna of their goodwill. Later, the Shrine Maiden, the unnamed representative of the Eastern Union, challenges Sora to a game of heads or tails in her shrine. The Shrine Maiden chooses heads while Sora flips the coin, but the coin lands on its edge. Sora convinces the Shrine Maiden to declare them both winners. This would allow Elkia to share resources with the Eastern Union, while the Shrine Maiden retains the ability to rule over the war beasts. Sora and Shiro believe that the 10 Commandments would allow them to unite all 16 races to challenge Tet to a game. In the aftermath, Sora and Shiro request the Shrine Maiden to channel an old Deus, the first divine race ranked among the Exceed, for the next game. This way, concluding the first season of No Game No Life. That was today's content. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to share the video, leave your like, and stay tuned for the next video. Take care.